Good morning. Oh my God, we're having too much fun.
Drew in the morning.
Soy de Texas, es mi orgullo ser chicano. En los barrios me pueden encontrar.
I hope you guys are ready for a fun Monday.
Porque ahí todititos me conocen. Y ya saben que me gusta cantidad. San Antonio, Corpus Christi y McAllen.
Hey, McAllen!
Drew in the morning.
Herencia que nunca podré olvidar. Y si acaso vas allá por esos barrios, mis carnales te sabrán alivianar. Y si acaso vas allá por esos barrios, mis carnales te podrán alivianar.
Happy Monday. I can't stop it. Just let it go. Just let it go. Just let it go. The immaculate Steve Jordan, Esteban Jordan. Ooh, 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 ooh. The Jimi Hendrix of the accordion. Man, what a jam.
De repente voy y cruzo la frontera para ir a divertirme a todo dar.
These are the jams. Are we drinking on a Monday morning already?
Porque sé que a las 2
I'm okay with
de la
that.
mañana de este lado ya no la puedes comprar. Si es Laredo, Matamoros o Reynosa.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good
Da lo
morning.
mismo porque allá saben gozar.
Here we go. Here we go.
El mariachi es mi mero guacamole y el tequila con limón y con su sal. El mariachi es mi mero guacamole y
Sing
el
it.
tequila con limón y con su sal.
Just gonna have a little dance party here for a second. So good. You know, that's one of those amazing things about being from South Texas is music like that just gets into your soul on a Monday morning after a long weekend. Oh man, there's so much good music that comes out of South Texas. And that man, Steve Jordan, right? That's the white people's name for Esteban Jordan, the guy from Brownsville, the one-eyed wonder. Man, if you don't know who that guy is, I would definitely suggest looking him up on Spotify. And also, what you can do is there's an incredible movie that's called As I Walk Through the Valley, and it's all about the South Texas music scene. And the guys that put it together, Charlie and Ronnie, are great, great guys. And you can look online for it, and it gives you a whole history of the Rio Grande Valley and the music that's down here, all the way from early days in through the 50s, and then all the way up into you know, some of the stuff that our buddy Czar and Gio did over at Don't Get Emo. None of the rave stuff's in there, but you know what, man? I guess that's for a different time. Anyway, it's Monday morning. It's 9:05 a.m. on
Drew in the morning.
And the cool thing about today's show is that not only are we live online, we've got YouTube, we've got Facebook, we've got Twitch, we've got Discord, we've got Twitter. We're on all of the social channels, but on top of that, we're broadcasting live on 97.7 KCYP LPFM for the first time this morning. My son and I went up and turned the transmitter up this weekend. Joe and I have been working on this. It's a station that Joe had put together for a while back. It's been running for a number of years, and it's what's called an LPFM, a low-power FM station. They got their birth in things like college radio, where people would turn on a college radio station just for the campus or just for the area. And so now what they've done is they allow a certain amount of power, 35 to 50 watts, to be transmitted or emitted from their towers. KCYPLP has a tower north of, it's over by Tres Lagos. So if you're at Tres Lagos, you can look to the east. You'll see these two big towers out there. That's where the transmission station for KCYP is. And as of this morning, we have taken over the airwaves in a totally legal way. Not like what we did in high school. No comment. Anyway, but I don't know. Man, I wonder if anybody remembers pirate radio. There's a story there. A long time ago, we had a good time running, playing with RF. But now, this is a low power FM station. It is meant as a community station, which is great. Think about public radio, talk radio, things like that. We're going to be able to come to you live on the airwaves, so that if you're driving to work and you don't have any fancy gadgetry or internet access in your vehicle, you can actually listen to the old school radio here on 97.7 KCYP LP-FM. You've got
Drew in the morning.
And we sound like an official radio show, because now, ladies and germs, we are an official radio show. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, which means I can't say bad words, especially on a community-based station. Now, I might have to mention lunch menus, but we're not in school right now, so it's all good. But what I will tell you is that we are under a heat advisory. It's 115 degrees outside today is what it's supposed to get to. But that's kind of crazy. Anyway, all right, let's check on the internets right now. 6 whole viewers. I love y'all. I appreciate it. I've heard more people come back and talk about how they listen to this show after the fact. Not a lot of people listen live in the morning. That's cool. We'll get our 6, our 10, our 20, whatever it is, depending on the week. But it's the replays, man. We're getting so many replays. It's fantastic. Speaking of replays, it's time for your favorite co-hostess with the mostest just walking in the door. Remember, babe, you can't cuss today because we are live on the radio.
It's not me that does it.
On 97.7 FM. It's Totes Live.
I'm not the one with the bad language.
Yeah. While Jessica gets mic'd up, Eli is not in the studio with us today. So sending some love and prayers and whatnot. He's tending to his mother who is in the hospital this morning. So we love her and him and all that good stuff. So he won't be here. So if the microphones sound bad, I will try and work on it as we go. It's a little low. Okay, so I'm going to go turn it up over there. But I'll let Jess get your cans on, lady. Good morning. Talk a little bit while I go turn up your microphone.
Oh, that's the pressure. The pressure on what to talk about. I saw that you guys were discussing the radio, how you guys are on the radio now, or how you're on the radio. Or I guess we're both on.
You're one of those guys.
We're both on the radio.
Oh, that's a little too loud.
I can't hear it in here, though.
Okay, I'll turn you up in there.
No worries.
Just keep talking.
The drive to over here was eventful. I'm like, I have nothing to talk about. Give me a topic.
Camera's right there, so if you want to look at people, you can look there.
Hi, people. Oh, I know what I can talk about. Is it? No,
Nothing? You got
no,
nothing?
no, I got nothing.
Oh, that's great.
I was listening to you talk about Esteban Am I saying that right? Jordas?
Yeah, Jordan.
Jordan.
The white people call him Steve Jordan.
Steve Jordan.
Steve Jordan, yeah.
Esteban Jordan. I can't hear myself in
Esteban
here.
Jordan. Oh, here, how about that?
Oh, there. Way better.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Okay.
I think I'm louder now. Oh, still. You say something. No, you say something.
No,
you hang up.
you say something. Hey, what a great weekend. We're going to talk about the sunshine.
Some ups and downs. It was, what an incident we had yesterday.
That was it. That was an interesting one.
I'm going to go turn you up a little bit because I want to hear you talk about it.
I did feel like it was appropriately handled. We had a great weekend otherwise.
We did. It was a great weekend. Okay, so this weekend, there we go. That's a little bit louder. That might be too loud, so I'll back away from the mic. See, what you don't want to see is little red. You don't want to see any red. Red's bad.
Red.
Even
Red
if you're
is
a
bad.
rave DJs like to make that thing just go as bright red as they possibly can at all given times, and all it does is just sound terrible.
I am not a rave DJ.
You are not. Good morning. Welcome to
Drew in the morning.
With Jessica.
I didn't intend to be late. I had full intentions on being here on
No,
time.
we're having fun,
and
dude. I was listening to Steve Jordan.
I saw you. I saw you jamming, moving your body a little left and right.
Dude, I am valleying
swaying.
out.
I know.
It's
Sounds like Saturday morning at our house.
You know what? I mean, there's I really want to talk about the thing that I want to talk about, which is September
looking at you like,
23rd.
Tell me.
September 23rd. At
Oh,
Cena
yeah.
El Rey. I
think
can't talk about it
You
yet.
can't talk about it yet.
I can't talk about it. What I can say is that September 23rd at Cena El Rey, I hear it's going to be really cool.
You can say that.
I can say that. I hear it's going to be really, really, really cool.
It is going to be really cool. I'm excited for it.
and
But we can't talk about it.
We
So
can't.
should we move
You also
on?
shouldn't punch the
I
microphone.
didn't.
You're looking cute today.
Thank you. I try.
Honey, we're broadcasting on 97.7 KCYP.
I know, which makes me a little nervous because those are, people are listening that wouldn't otherwise.
I don't know.
Is that what that means?
Well, I mean, if they come across it.
All of a sudden they hear your voice.
Yeah, they're like,
Is that
oh,
Drew?
man. They're like, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to listen to Drew on the radios. Okay, let's see. So we got a couple listeners. I don't have my radio inside my house. This isn't 1950.
So this is actually really interesting, right? Who actually listens to the radio? I mean, take a poll. Let's find out. Anybody out there listen to the radio?
Yeah,
I don't.
I don't know how to do a poll. Someone put in Facebook comments if you actually listen to the. Well,
Yeah.
so they even talked about there was this deal last week or 2 weeks ago. I was reading in the news that they were saying that car manufacturers were going to start removing FM radios from vehicles, and that's crazy because I mean, imagine what that would do. Not everybody can afford XM, or not everybody has internet access in their car where they can stream stuff. You know.
Okay, so from what I heard, it was you were going to be able to plug in your phone and just stream from that. That's what everybody does anyway.
Doesn't make any sense.
I feel like it makes sense. Who listens to the radio?
Who listens to the radio, dude?
I don't feel like I listen to the radio.
You talk.
I like to listen to nothing. Silence. Silence is key.
You married the wrong dude. let me tell you.
If I'm alone, I am sitting in silence.
Yeah, right, man. No
Actually,
way.
the only other time that I really listen to anything is while I'm working out. I'll
Yeah,
put
but
on,
you
put some
listen
music
like
on.
you listen to crazy crazy music.
I do. I listen to majorly crazy music. It's either dirty house music or
Well, good morning.
Good morning. Or
Okay.
90s.
Well, there's something that I really want you to see that anyone who is watching or who is not watching this can't see.
What?
But I'm trying out like a new thing with the TV behind us. So there's this big TV.
So really quickly, when you said I'm trying out this new thing, my mind went in 400 different directions. I was
You
like,
need to get closer to the microphone. 'cause you
What
can't hear
is
anything
he
you're
going to
saying.
tell me?
There, you need to get this. There, kiss
Closer?
the
No.
mic. Yeah.
Get my
yes.
lipstick all over it.
Look, dude, you got to be in the yellow right near the red, and you're only in the green.
Am I mic 1?
No. Yeah. Well, yes, we're both mic 1.
Okay, nobody wants to hear us talk about that. Am I loud enough now?
You don't ask me. Look at the little bars.
Am I loud?
No.
No, not loud enough. Apparently.
Oh,
Okay,
let me
I
try.
can be loud. I'm no problem with
Okay.
that.
Well,
So
I'm
move
gonna
forward.
go. I'm gonna go turn you up, and I want your thoughts on what's about to appear behind you.
Okay, go.
You need to describe it to the internet right
Okay.
behind you. Pretend that
This
you can't
large,
see it.
handsome man is
You
sitting
ready?
right across from me.
No, behind me. Ready?
Behind you.
Go.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. It's weird. It's really weird. It's supposed to be Drew, I'm assuming. Like maybe in the eyes.
I used
Like I don't like it.
I used Midjourney to create.
Did you put your photo in it?
Yeah. I said, imagine this person as a 1970s radio talk show host.
They gave you more eyebrows.
They did. They gave me straight teeth too. You guys heard that, or even in our friends that
What?
we were over at this weekend. I was talking about. There's this article in Yahoo. It's actually. I was so lazy. I didn't do any research for today's show. Not really.
Well, no, but I do feel like we have a lot to talk about.
Okay.
Okay, so we can.
There was this thing that was talking about. Oh God, where is it? It was this thing that was saying.
Oh, if you grew
up poor.
Right.
Yeah, like all these different ways to tell that you grew up poor, and it's a very interesting list because it's like there were some funny ones, like you collect all of the ketchup and all the condiments and you stick them in a drawer in your house, and all of the picnic packs, you stick all those in the drawer in your house. And so there's all these things that say, if you grew up poor, here's what you do. But then there's sad ones, which is like you don't smile with your teeth. You just smile with your mouth shut because you can't afford dental work. And I'm like, guilty.
Oh, but I also feel like teeth and smiles are such a personality trait that if you were to change it, it changes who you are. I think I'm used to it. So I'm looking at this gentleman behind you, and he looks weird.
Eli says he looks like a thick Tucker Carlson.
Like he looks a little weird.
Anyway, Eli says she's coming in loud and clear. I know, Eli, you're away, but can you hear me? Or am I too loud?
Eli, we miss you.
I know, I'm too
Come
loud.
back, Eli.
The audio's all screwed up without Eli here.
Which camera can people actually see?
They're staring at you right now.
So my good angle. Good.
Yeah,
not the side.
there.
Bad angle.
There's the side.
No, I don't like that angle.
No.
Go back.
I should just leave it on you the whole time. Anyway, So I thought that was interesting. You can tell if don't do that.
Sorry, I was moving
No, that makes popping noises.
Okay, so yeah, what
Let's
I did
talk
want.
what? Go.
No, that I was going to say that we had such a great weekend. Our friends are back in town. I'm happy to have everyone back into the country. Makes for our social life a little more fun.
Yeah, you don't like our social life when our
What are
friends
you
aren't around.
staring at?
I'm looking at the levels as you talk, so I can see.
No,
I'm,
Eli, come back, please.
I have a whole monitor. I do this every time. There's a whole monitor right behind you that shows me everything that's going on.
Okay, so our friends are back, and one of the topics we were talking about, us girls, was moving forward, right? How we don't want to.
Yeah, because our friend said that
She said she wanted to move backwards, but I think
she's
she was
done
confused.
moving forward. She wants to start moving backwards.
I think what she meant was
she wants to be a kept woman, that her husband doesn't make enough money.
No, no, they're going to strangle you. No, that's not at all what was said. What was said was that she is done with things that don't fulfill her or don't make her happy, and she's wanting to move forward from that.
Like what? I mean, I'm joking.
I
because
mean, no, it's a combination of things.
we do joke with our friends that things like that. She always says he doesn't make enough money, so he can't buy a roof.
Jesus. We're not talking about you guys. We're talking about someone else, I swear.
Oh, no. Ooh, I almost said a bad word. Can't say bad words.
Yeah, and we can't name people either.
You can't. You are so bad about
I know,
that.
I normally am, but I'm not naming anybody. My point is that she was talking about just getting rid of things that don't serve her anymore. Right? Like, not literally. I meant like energy that isn't welcoming or positive. And I can absolutely.
Yeah, but everyone goes through a Facebook purge every once in a while where they're like, you bring in the bad vibes.
No, but hers was
cutting
everything
your
like,
vibes.
I'm going to cut my hair so that I feel lighter.
Sounds like somebody's having a midlife crisis.
You know, we all shed in different ways.
This is anytime a woman cuts her hair or a man. Let's not. Okay, you're right.
I cut my hair all the time.
You're constantly going through internal struggles with yourself.
I'm like a butterfly.
Yeah, it's metamorphosis.
I'm like, what is it?
I don't know. You're a peacock.
No, yeah, that's what's crystalline. I'm a crystalline.
Chrysalis.
That. Anyway, well, way
Chrysalis.
to derail. This is what happens when I don't have another woman to talk to.
Whatever. What? Why you gotta be sexist? You can't do that.
Absolutely sexist with you. You are my spouse. We are committed.
Whatever. Yeah, I mean, anytime someone starts chopping their hair, though, bad, like danger, curves ahead. There should be a sign, because that's like the first sign.
You need a haircut.
Yeah, but not like a little bit.
Like, let's diet. Like that guy behind you.
That guy behind me is great.
Can they see him?
No, I mean some people can, but not anyone listening on KCYP 97.7 LPFM. I'm just gonna keep saying it. We're gonna make bumper stickers.
I can't even memorize that.
We're gonna put bumper stickers on people's cars, and if we see a bumper sticker on your car, we're gonna give you a high five.
Another point
Go.
that was said this weekend that I thought was absolutely spot on. It was, you know what? I'm so tired of going other places. I live in a beautiful place. I have beautiful things. It's time that I just embrace them and enjoy them. What am I trying to go find other things for? And that was a good point.
Yeah, okay. Stand by.
So
Except
hold on.
yesterday when we were stuck in Harlingen for 3 hours.
Well, you gave us a historical tour.
I did give you a
I saw plenty of antique shops from the outside.
that were all closed.
Well, it was Sunday evening. Why were we stuck in Harlingen?
We were stuck in Harlingen because our daughter was out of town. Mm-hmm. And this is an interesting. Here we go.
We're going to talk about it.
Our daughter was out of town. She was spending time with her aunt, Jess's sister, and it was great. Instead of driving up there, we decided we were going to stick her on a flight, and she was going to fly as an unaccompanied minor.
Now, she has been on
Southwest.
plenty of flights before, so we figured she could navigate this.
Absolutely. So she got dropped off at the airport. There was a delay. She got off the plane.
She did not get dropped off at the airport. She was walked in all the way to her gate.
That's
My
what I
sister
meant.
hung out. There was a delay. They deplaned. It was a whole mess. And luckily, they do ask that whoever is accompanying the minor stay until the plane leaves. And at first, I didn't really understand that. Now I got it. So there was a air conditioning issue on the plane, and it was really hot in there. So they ended up deplaning. And
Yep.
then a couple hours later, they got back on the plane and were able to come home.
That's right. And so they deplaned, and they got on, and
But we were already in Harlingen.
that's right. So we had to spend a few hours
In Harlingen.
in Harlingen.
And it wasn't bad. It was just closed. The entire city was
the
closed.
whole yeah. It closes at 5 o'clock. Harlingen shuts down at 5. But
Well, I mean, it was Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised if they shut down at 3.
maybe. So anyway, so interesting. So we show up at the airport, and I check in.
Only one of us can go up there to the gate because they only allow one person.
So I register my name, and I go upstairs, and I'm waiting by the gate,
And we hung back, and we were very excited. I'm taking video, excited to see her because we hadn't seen her in a week, and she's coming down the escalator, and she's crying.
Why you gotta fast forward?
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's rewind. Well, this is my perspective, right? I'm sitting at the bottom, and she's crying. You're at the top.
Here's
I don't
the
know
sail.
what's going
Here's
on.
the wind. Take the wind out.
There is no wind. This is interesting. Go on.
Do you want to tell the story? Or do you want me to tell the
Well,
story?
I just gave you my perspective.
You
now
just
you can talk
ruined
about
the story.
your perspective
And she
about
was
what
crying.
happened. She was crying.
She was crying. My perspective was I was waiting beside the gate for her to come out, and she came running out, and she gave me a big hug, and the flight attendant said, no, don't run away from me. And I said, hold on, we got to sign you out. And this older lady came up beside her and very loudly laid this out there, obviously on purpose. She said, oh, the man in the pink shirt is not with you. And she said, no. And she said, well, then why was he taking pictures of you? And I said, excuse me? And she said, there was a gentleman sitting beside your daughter and the other little girl, the other...
Because there was 2 unaccompanied minors sitting together.
That's what I was about to say.
I'm just adding ad-libs. We can just listen to you then. Fine.
Anyway.
It is Drew in the morning.
Listen, yes, it is.
Drew in the morning.
I need to make you a jingle. And I'm sure this happens with husbands and wives who are so in tune with each other that they can finish each other's sandwiches. Anyway, so the lady says, well, why was he taking pictures of you? And I was like, I'm sorry. And she said there was a guy there taking pictures of your daughter and the person sitting beside him. I said, what kind of pictures? And she said, I don't know. But it was enough that it gave me pause.
Right.
And I said, okay. And the flight attendant said, yeah, I was sitting behind them also, and I saw that. And I was a little concerned, and I asked them if they were okay, if they were comfortable. At one point, I guess the gentleman got up, and she asked if he was making them feel uncomfortable. They both said no. But then there was another guy in front of them who, as this lady was telling me the story, he came up and he said, I saw the same thing, sir. It gave me pause. Here, I took a picture of the gentleman. I pretended I was taking a selfie of my wife, but I was taking a picture of the guy behind her because he was taking pictures of your daughter. And I was like, red flags and alarms going off everywhere.
Right, but I don't know any of this is happening.
Yeah, you're still sitting downstairs waiting for us to come down the escalator. And so I'm getting the lowdown from the flight attendant. And I say, hey, what row were they in? What seat were they in? Can you document this at the front desk or at the gate with the agent? Make sure, I can't ask for his name, but if you know the person's name, please just flag it in case something happens or I need to come back to it. This is all very uncomfortable. Well, our daughter was like freaked out a little bit because, the words predator and things like that were thrown out. And our daughter said, no, he was really nice. And the lady says, yeah, they all are. That's how they get you.
Right, but which is alarming. She's 11,
Yeah.
right? And I think we talk about this all the time. Don't let anyone follow you into the bathroom. Don't let anyone take pictures of you. But this was someone who was nice, friendly, seemed very harmless, and she felt comfortable sitting next to him. She
Child Predator 101, man.
Well, right, but how do you equip someone for that? She doesn't know that.
I know.
So she's now listening to all these words happening, and I
told
don't know
her at
what's
some point,
happening,
I was like, hey, we got to get downstairs because your mom's about to freak out if we don't come down these
right, and I was
escalators.
texting like, what's going on? And I had seen the other little unaccompanied minor because you can tell they're wearing the little badge around their neck. And she had come down with her father already. So I was like, where are they?
Mm-hmm.
And then I see her coming down and we're ready to run up.
Well,
to
she
him.
saw you, and then she was crying, and she turned around. She's like, I don't want mom to see me crying. And she ran backwards. I said, no, you can't run back there. They'll arrest us. So we turned around, and I said, nope, come on. And then you guys were like, you were trying to take a video, and she just wasn't having it. And then we came down the stairs, and lo and behold, standing out beside the path in front of the airport was the guy.
Right.
And I asked her, I said, is that him? Is that the guy? And she said, yes. And I said, hold on. And I dropped her backpack. And
Right. And then when you left, though, she was really frightened. She said, did I do something wrong? what happened? I don't understand. She, from her perspective, nothing bad happened. And so she was startled. She was really startled.
She was. She freaked out because she thought, I mean, it was.
I freaked out.
It was an interesting glimpse into the way that people can feel victimized, even though
Absolutely.
they weren't. Because up until this point, we have no idea if this guy is.
What kind of pictures he took? We don't know anything.
Yeah, we don't know anything. So he could have been doing something nefarious and we wouldn't have known. And she's the one who felt victimized.
Right.
She's the one that felt like she had done
bad.
something wrong. She was crying.
She was crying. She felt bad. She didn't understand. She thought that the man was nice. What's interesting though, backtracking, was when she's on the plane, I had sent her a text and I said, who's sitting next to you? And she says, there's an older man next to me, and then there's another unaccompanied minor. And she says, she made a comment. She said, the older man's really nice. And I said, that's great. I'm glad that you got seated to somebody nice. But go ahead and focus your attention on the child sitting next to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you two strike up a conversation and be friends with the child next to you.
Yeah, and I mean, and I guess they did. Anyway, so I see the guy. Mm-hmm. I drop the bag. And I run outside and just punch him right in the...
No, but I was alarmed. Your face kind of was...
Well, I mean,
you looked pretty intense. I didn't know what was happening. She's crying. I'm like, hey, it's fine. You didn't really explain anything. You just left. So then when I asked her, she says, I don't know. They said that he did. I posed for the picture. I was holding the little... She was making a poppin' cooking thing. Mm-hmm. She's like, I was holding it, and we both took a picture just holding it up. And I left it at that. And then I said, it's okay. It's fine. So I'm trying to calm her down. You go outside. I'm trying not to watch you, not to try to draw any attention. I honestly didn't know. I don't know what I didn't want to see her see. So we walked off. And then what happened?
So I get out there, and I walk right up to him. And I said, listen here, boy. No, I didn't say it. I said, excuse me, were you just on the flight that landed in from Austin? He said, yes, sir. I said, hey, and in my mind, I'm thinking, how do I approach this? What do I say to this guy? Because if he is, oh, man.
Right.
And if he's not, oh, God. Like, how do you... How do you approach the topic? And I said, I'll just go down the middle of the road. Give him the benefit of the doubt, right? Be a good human first. Assume good intent. Because our daughter had said that he was taking pictures to show his granddaughters because he really liked what they were doing, that they were making this little creation. And so I said, you were just on flight? He said, yes. And I said, all right, listen, I'm the father of one of the girls that was in that row. And it was brought to my attention by the stewardess or by the flight attendant and by two other parents that were on that flight sitting next to you that you were taking pictures of my daughter. And I don't know what the intent of that was. And I'd like to see those photos right now. And he said, oh my gosh, no, I am so sorry. No, that's not at all. He said, hold on. No. And he dropped everything and he pulled out his phone and he showed me his phone. And he said, look, he's like, look, I'm a parent. I'm a grandparent. Here are my grandchildren. And I'm in my head. I'm like, yeah, but aren't they all? You know what I mean?
Right. I mean,
so I'm like trying to balance this in real time. He goes, no, here are my granddaughters, and your daughter was doing something. And he's like, here's the photos, and he opened it up. And the first thing I did, to be honest, was I looked at when he showed me the photos. They were on an iPhone there at the very bottom. I started at the top. I was like, I'm purposely going to look at all the photos before there to see if there's anything questionable. And there wasn't. There was nothing like pictures of houses and real estate or whatever. And he says, no. And he opens up and he's got like 8 pictures, right? And it's pictures cataloging the way that it's pictures of their hands and what they're doing, making this poppin' cooking. If you don't know what that is, go check out the local market, little Tokyo market has them. And it's these little things that they make in Japan. They're like big sizes of food, but miniaturized.
Right. So you can make little baby things, and it's, I don't know, tapioca and some of it. It ends up being like a gummy.
Yeah. So he's got pictures of them working on it, and then pictures of them like holding it and posing, and I was like, all right. And I said, look, I would feel more comfortable if you just deleted those photos. This was raised, and and I appreciate you showing that to me. And I said, I'm assuming good intent here. He's like, no, you should be so proud of your daughter. Her and her friend were working so hard on this, and they really put a lot of effort into it. And it looked like something that my grandkids would get a kick out of. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to give off any bad, feelings on this. I said, absolutely understood. Again, I'm assuming that you're being truthful with me and honest with me, but it did raise the alarm where not only 2 other people on the plane, but also the flight attendant saw that as questionable behavior. So just in the future, don't do that. People freaked out. And then I come back inside and our daughter's still crying, and I explained that no, that actually I had the conversation with them, but it could have gone 2 ways.
Right, it could have
walked out there and just belted the guy.
Well, no, you could have also scanned the phone and seen horrible things, right?
I know, imagine. But he was very forthcoming with everything, and I don't know who he was, and then a part of me felt really bad.
Well, that's the part.
So that's
Why
it, right?
do we feel bad? Because I initially felt really bad. I felt horrible, and I said, "Oh my God, this man! They accused him of this stuff. But what if it had gone the other way?"
Part of being on the radio, by the way, is it's the bottom of the hour. It's 9:30, so we announce that we are broadcasting live on KCYP LPFM 97.7. We have to do that at the top and the bottom of the hour. They're called sweeps. Anyhow, so if you're not listening and you're driving in your car, you can listen on 97.7, and we will be rebroadcasting this. So anyway, okay, so back to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So I felt bad because I was like, dude, I just went out and totally accused this guy of being a child predator. But with good reason.
So I'll tell you this,
and
though,
I feel like
because
I wish I recognized him, and I wish I knew who he was, and part of me wants to just be like, dude, I'm sorry. Part of me wants to apologize for that, but at the same time, all the information that I had was saying that this dude was a pervert taking pictures of my daughter on an airplane.
Right.
And so I had to treat it like that.
You did everything right. I think everybody did everything right, including him. He was forthcoming. He was honest. He showed you the photos. But that's the part that stuck with me even this morning. Why do I feel bad about this?
I know.
And why did it make her cry?
Okay, hold
right?
on.
Why did it make her cry is what bothers me.
I feel bad about it because I'm the one who went up and accused him. And then I found out the truth. So part of me was like, oh, that's a bummer. But here's what, with me, I think it didn't. One of the things, I said this in the car yesterday when we were driving back, is how cool. And this is a borderline conversation. First off, I was going to say, how cool is it that the flight attendant and 2 other parents both thought, hey, we need to raise this up to the parent and let him know that there are other people on that plane who are looking out for the good intent of which I'm so appreciative for. Yes, I am. However.
Right, it's sticky.
But it's like maybe they went too far. Like, when do you say something and when do you not say something?
I don't know.
And would the flight attendant have said something to me if that lady hadn't?
Probably not. It didn't seem like she was going to be the first one to tell you. I don't know. But I'll tell you that when we were walking out to the parking lot, and the other gentleman, the second person who told you about it, he was very adamant. He says there was something wrong with that. There was something wrong with it.
And he's like, I'm a grandfather also, and I've got granddaughter. Because we saw as we were walking out to the car, we saw one of the people that had brought it to my attention, and he said, that's great, I'm glad you talked to him, but there's still something wrong with that.
And then what did our daughter do? Did you see that? She kind of put her head down, and she felt like humiliated. She felt embarrassed. She felt like she had done something wrong, and that's the part that's still sticking in. It's still sticking there. It's like, why does she feel that way?
Why did she feel like she did something, that she was the person?
She didn't do it, and we assured her over and over and over again that she didn't do anything wrong. Nothing wrong, right? Like like I said, I'm happy that people said something to me. I'm happy that other parents said something, but also at the same time, it's like, were they overreaching? And I don't know. I feel like I have to take a class because I genuinely don't know
no one teaches you how to handle this. They're like, what happens if your daughter gets her photo taken by a child predator on an airplane? There's no YouTube for that.
Maybe there's a way.
Now there is, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, maybe there's a way to identify. Maybe there's markers, right? Things that we should look for, things that we shouldn't look for. And I'll tell you this. It is a little strange. It's a little strange that there was an older gentleman sitting next to 2 children taking pictures.
But if this was the 70s, if this was the 80s, if this was the 60s,
pictures.
Well, yeah, because they don't have camera phones. It's a good point.
It's just a little weird. It is.
It is. Well.
So, but she's fine. She's absolutely fine.
She is.
We talked about it.
She never wants to fly alone.
She's never going to fly. No, she was fine. She was just like, and part of it she did say was, do you think Dad's overreacting? And I said, no, his job is to protect you. He's not overreacting. But
Overreacting would have been punching him in the, like running out there and just like tackling him.
But that's what I'm telling you is that we internalize that and we somehow make, I don't know, we felt bad. I felt bad. I don't know. Someone give us some advice. Not sure how to handle all of those emotions.
Listen, the Twitters are it's a violation of our personal space. It's a feeling that you thought you were safe and you may not have been.
Right.
And that's but I mean I agree with that, Luke. But this is a comment that came on Facebook, right? I agree with that, but she didn't feel like she was being violated.
Right. She did not.
And
she
so
felt comfortable.
Who do you side with here? Do you say, well, look, you just don't know. You just don't understand what that person can be doing.
Yeah, I'm just looking for the
photos.
better. I'm looking for something else to say to her moving forward, right? When she's on another flight, when she's by herself, and this can happen to anybody at any moment, right? I tend to, if somebody had asked me to pose for a picture, I would have been sure. I wouldn't have thought of it maliciously, but I don't tend to think that way. So I wouldn't have thought about it like, oh no, that's an invasion of my space. I would never have thought that.
So here's the thing. So then everything that comes into my head, I can hear you on 97.7 KCYP LPFM in Edinburgh, near Raoul, Longoria, and Wisconsin.
Woo-hoo.
So happy to hear it. You can actually hear this all the way probably down to like Pecan in McAllen, in all of the greater McAllen area on 97.7. Anyway, it's I don't know, man. So Luke's saying, yeah, that's the flip. She felt safe the entire time, and everyone else made her question that. But that's where what I was going to say is it goes back to the statistics of it for me. I've done all these classes, right, where we talk about online predators and things like that. And if you look at there's a chart that shows when females are like 75% more susceptible to this than boys. Not susceptible to it, sorry. They get attacked more than boys do. And the age, the way that it looks is it's like when you start at age 10, it's just this chart that goes like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's just like the steady climbing chart. Like the percentage of chance that you're going to get accosted in some way, shape, or form by a predator is like 70%, 80%, 90%. But as soon as they hit 14, it drops down to like 7%. It's this really weird cliff gross. That it falls off. Yeah, they stop at like 14.
Right, maybe because then you've learned to navigate a little bit better. And again, going back to it, not that I want to keep harping on it, but it was a learning moment for all of us. And I think the only thing I made sure for her to understand was that, one, it was not her fault. None of that was her fault. How she was feeling was absolutely valid. And 3 was, moving forward, we just say, I'm not comfortable with you taking my picture.
Yes. Like, how do you, it's like we taught her
to be strong enough to say that out loud, which is so hard to do.
Yes.
Right?
But if she would have said that, I bet
he wouldn't have taken it.
I bet he wouldn't have taken it.
Right.
It's like the whole thing whenever someone's walking behind you.
But that's a massive
They always teach you, well, don't, your first instinct is don't turn around, don't look at them. But then in every course that you take, it's like stare at them right in the eyes.
So this is the ongoing conversation that I have with her at all times, is right, like empowering her to always have a voice, empowering her to be bold enough to say something when something's wrong, empowering her to feel comfortable when everyone else is going to leave the room and you're the only one standing up for what you think is right. In this case, her saying, I'm not comfortable with you taking that photo, takes a lot of courage. Like, you've got to be brave to say, I'm not comfortable.
But the thing is
11.
You have to have that on deck, man.
That's what I'm saying.
You have to be prepared to say that. But the thing about, what I was going to talk about also is that if you look at, I've got a chart up behind me or in front of me, and the age of the average child predator always blows my mind. It blows my mind because you think dirty old man, right? You think 50 plus, 60 plus, 70 plus, for sure. That's not it at all. The likelihood of it being someone over the age of 44 is half of that of what it would be for someone.
So what is the average?
25 to 29.
Wow.
No. Yeah, the amount, and this is all, available online where you can just look up the average age of child predators. But sex offenders, age of offender, man, I've got it on the wrong screen. Look, age of offender. It starts up rate per 1,000 offenders. 35 to 40% of those 15 and then 20, then 25, then 30, then 35. It drops between 35 and 40 and then significantly drops again from 40 to 45. And then it dwindles down. And this was an older guy. And so it's showing right here. If I just look at statistically, and this is what's going through my head when I'm walking out to this guy, because I'm like, I don't want to be like, how do you approach someone and call them a sex offender?
I don't know what I would have done. I know that I probably would have just
said there was less than
security.
a 5% chance that he was, just based on his age alone. But you always think that it's the older demographic, and it's not. It's these 25 to 30-year-olds in this day and age that are doing that. I mean, look.
That's interesting.
And dude, we saw one the other day.
What do we see?
When we were sitting down at lunch, man. We're sitting down at lunch.
Like, remind me.
Yeah,
where?
man. Jess and I were sitting down at lunch, and in walked someone who had just.
Oh yeah, sorry. But he
Yeah.
was older man. That's an older man.
Yeah, he was an older man. Yeah.
He was in a very public place who has just recently been, I don't know, accused. Can you say accused, or did he admit? He admitted.
Yeah.
He admitted it.
Pictures of 15-year-olds on his phone
Right.
that he had paid for and coerced this 15-year-old to supply. So,
Right.
dude, it's just man. Being
And then
a parent, I guess, is never easy,
and then there's
but-
that other topic, right? Is the difference between in person and online, right? So you can try to prep as much as you can for online predators, which I feel is what we're constantly doing. But then the in person,
Yeah, it's like we miss.
and then you're shocked.
We had a blind spot
You're
there.
stunned. You're stunned that that these things could actually happen. Anyway, luckily that was not the case. He was just friendly. Wanted, you saw the photos. It was of their hands. It was of them making the little things.
And then even
it wasn't anything.
another
gross.
comment says she might have felt bad because it seemed like it was a nice interaction. Then she was frightened when people told me about it. And in her mind, it's a conflict of what feels fine. The adults are saying isn't. It's like when you get in trouble as a kid for doing something you thought was fun. Or fine, it's confusing, as I'm saying.
And then I'm sure it doesn't help that we're constantly talking about how we make friends everywhere we go, and the truth is that we're both very friendly, and we do make friends everywhere we go, and so I don't want to take that away from her.
Yeah, but I mean, we just like red flag that anyway.
Right. Okay, moving on.
Interesting topic though, and I think this goes back to the root of what are we telling our kids and how are we addressing this with our children. I think one of the strongest points that was made when our kids were very young was use your words. Always use your words. Teach your kids to use their words. But in this situation,
She didn't recognize it.
Well,
She didn't recognize it. I wouldn't have recognized it either. I'm trying to think. If I had been sitting next to them, I would have been fine with him taking pictures of their hands creating the stuff. That doesn't bother me.
there was one where she was posing with it.
Right.
Anyway,
Like maybe take a picture of the box, not them.
Anyway,
Yeah.
well, dude, if for some reason you hear this, be careful. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than.
But I will say that
I'm not gonna apologize because as a parent, I'm not gonna apologize for standing up for my daughter.
No, not at all. But the airline did great. My sister did great, holding her into the gate, she deplaned, got back on. They had to go get snacks. They did their stuff. They did a great job. She had a wonderful visit with her aunt. She came back elated, went shopping, did a bunch of great
The
stuff.
first thing she bought when she got to Austin was Doc Martens.
She did.
Yep, she came home. She threw away all her razors. She says, "I'm never shaving my armpits."
That's not what she said. And that's not what happened.
That's not what happened. Anyway, not a lot. I didn't.
What?
I didn't keep up with a lot of news this past week.
No, and sometimes it's good to take a
there was
break.
yeah, but I mean, there's dumb stuff and whatever. What's crazy is the heat today, right? So it's supposed to get up again. We got another one of those warnings. It's supposed to get up to 115 degrees. The feels like temperature, 115 degrees today in the Rio Grande Valley, which is really, really hot. But it's not as hot as Death Valley, where tourists are flocking to Death Valley
Why?
right now. Because this week we're under what's called a heat dome. The southern United States is under its heat dome. It is supposed to reach 55 degrees centigrade Celsius, which for Americans, can you do the math?
No, I don't
131 degrees.
And
in
they're
Death
going
Valley.
there?
They're going there because it will be the hottest day on record in the world.
Oh, so they're looking to get heat stroke.
No, they're looking to go and just be a part of history. And someone mentioned that it's like it's like the scene from Independence Day where they're all standing on the roof and they're like, "Hello, our beautiful alien friends." It's like then they get not alive.
They get melted.
Another thing that makes me sick to my stomach.
Oh, I knew we were going to talk about it. Yeah, it made me pretty sick to my stomach too when I saw it.
I want to know what you're talking about.
The barges.
Oh, dude.
What are you talking about?
the norovirus outbreak with oysters. If you've been eating oysters,
I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, I think I'm popping. I'm going.
You are.
I'm
You have to pull back when you go loud.
All right. Well, yeah. I expected you to talk about something else.
If you've been eating shellfish, if you haven't been selfish with the shellfish, be on the lookout because there's been a norovirus outbreak that is causing mad stomach problems all up and down.
So we had lunch yesterday at a seafood restaurant, and I kept seeing the trays of oysters going out, and I kept thinking, "Ooh, I want some oysters." I'm so glad I didn't do it.
Mm-hmm. They're all green in the face this morning.
Yeah, I could have gotten sick.
But things like that only happen when you live in a third world hellhole, right? You get food poisoning because the food is bad and tainted quality.
No, now I know where you're going.
Because we live in a third world hellhole run by perverts and thugs, according to Donald Trump. Third world hellhole. You believe that? Come on, man. This guy was a president one day and the next he's like, this is the worst place in the world. Here's what sucks. Let's talk about what you were going to bring up. Imagine, go with me. I wish I had like a little chime like, imagine you are a little 5-year-old.
Oh, I don't want to imagine
and you're this little kid and you have no idea what's going on. And it's the middle of the night, okay? And you're with your mom and your cousins and you're with all these people and you don't know what's right or wrong. You don't know what's happening. You just know that they prepped you and you're ready to go and you've got your shorts on and you're going to go for a swim.
It's not okay.
And you and all your family wait till the coast is clear and they go for a swim. And in the middle of your swim, you get caught up in a net.
Yeah.
Water is pulling in one direction and the net is holding you in another direction. And your little 4 or 5-year-old body can't get out of that. And you finally get out of it because you see this big orange thing above you and you go to reach on it only for it to spin around and you realize it has spikes on it. And that's how you end your life. Because that's what's happening in Eagle Pass right now. They're floating big 6-foot buoys. Governor, in his infinite wisdom, is taking these big 6-foot buoys and he's stringing them on this rail down the middle of the Rio Grande River.
They're people. We're all people. How is that hard to understand? Why is that hard to understand?
Well, because Texas, we got to keep them out, babe. I don't know. The mentality is.
I will build a great, great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall.
May God bless you in your endeavors, and may God forever bless the great state of Texas.
This guy, I can't understand the thought process here on this one. I mean, there's a lot of ideas to do things, to protect the border. Floating buoys with weighted nets underneath them down the middle of the Rio Grande River. How do they not think that this is going to be? And you know what he says? He says, it's a deterrent. If they know, I'm sure.
They don't know.
They wake up in the morning and they're like, let me read the paper and see if there's any buoys floating down the river. On our way up from Ecuador, what about these? No. So that's what's happening in Eagle Pass. And there's videos and there's pictures of it. They're 4 to 6 foot tall when they're fully inflated. They rotate, so if you put your hand on it, they actually spin around. And there's pictures that say that there's spikes on it. I didn't see spikes, but then they've got a net underneath it. And so there's lawsuits that are being brought against the state of Texas by people who are saying you can't block a federal waterway because people it's the kayakers that are launching this, right? And
I was going to ask, does anyone actually do sports on the river? Like, how does this work for people who are taking tours or checking out the wildlife? How does this work?
Well, apparently it doesn't. In the Rio Grande Valley, there used to be a kayak club down here that would go up and down the Rio Grande River.
That doesn't exist? I
don't know if they still do that anymore. But it's just one of those things where it's like the humanity. Well, like, where's the humanity? Yeah. I saw this in the in the beautiful world of the Instagram. I saw this thing yesterday, and it says, imagine taking the few Bible verses on women being silent in church and human sexuality as literal divine commands from God. Because that's kind of what they're doing, right?
Right.
But then minimize the over 2,000 verses calling for a economy and redistribution of wealth for the sake of the poor. It's like
friend.
do you pick and choose? How do you say you can't be, you can't be a homosexual? It's terrible. It's against God's will. Well, God also, Jesus also said all these amazing things about being nice to people and feeding the hungry.
Right. I was going to say, just like our friend, all she said was, I'm feeding people and I'm giving them something to drink. That's it. Well, on that note.
Yeah, anyway, we got 10 minutes left. But, yeah, it's crazy, man.
Maybe that's why you didn't read the news this weekend. Oh, and maybe because our Sunday paper didn't show up.
Well,
Yep, it just didn't
I'm
show
trying
up.
I love the newspaper. I love old mediums. That's why I love being on the radio on KCYPLP FM 97.7, the city. Woohoo! Oh, God. Can't be yelling.
Okay,
We miss Eli because our voices are all messed up. A spectator taking a selfie. There's a spectator, right? And they're like, oh, I'm so happy. You know how everybody takes selfies?
Yeah, I take lots of selfies.
You do? And so, like, there's this big event happening. And they're like, oh, man, I'm just going to jump out and take a quick selfie.
Yeah.
20 riders on stage 15 of the Tour de France got into an accident.
No.
Because the person popped out in front of one of the bike riders and knocked them all down. Yeah,
that
dude.
would not have been me.
Blood and injury and stuff everywhere. It's like, and then there's all these tweets like, hey, make sure you don't ruin the party.
Yeah, that's bad.
You know what they charge them for doing that?
A lot, I'm sure.
€1.
That's it?
Mm-hmm. They do it because it's like an honorary traditional thing. Like, hey,
You took a selfie and you messed some stuff up. so you get
don't be rude.
Oh.
Yeah, anyway,
It's like a fine.
what else do we have to talk about today?
I don't know, but let's make it positive and happy.
I know. You know any good jokes? So there's a lizard walking through the
Oh,
forest.
that is a good joke, but that's going to take 25 minutes to get through. So we're not going to.
Speaking of lizards, at least our daughter didn't see any lizard people on the
Oh,
airplane.
yeah, I know. She wasn't screaming to get off the flight.
Did they ever find that lady, the
don't
lizard
know.
lady?
I don't know. She must have been really tired.
No news on the tickler from Lake Tahoe.
Miguel still hasn't been found.
He's on his way to Phoenix right now. So if a news story pops up about someone playing with toes in the middle of the night, you know it's Miggs.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
This week, I'm trying to think of any events that are going on this week. On tomorrow, Tuesday morning, if you have any interest at all about broadband and about the way that broadband and internet connectivity makes its way into economically challenged areas, at the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council tomorrow morning, that is July 18th, the LRGVDC is hosting a deal where everyone can come in and give their thoughts, like a forum where everyone can come in and talk about the strategic planning for the $42.5 billion that was allocated for broadband funding. So if broadband is of interest to you, I'll be going and hanging out.
Where is it?
The LRGVDC is in Weslaco, and it's where Ibarra's was. Man, remember Ibarra? No. Ibarra's restaurant in Weslaco? Oh,
No,
man,
I don't. I've never really spent a lot of time in Weslaco.
The Texas Broadband Development Office, Connect Texas regional public meetings have been scheduled. Be at the Rio Grande Valley LRGVDC, July 18th. I'm sorry, yes, July 18th from 9 to 11 a.m. Reach out to Manuel Cruz from the LRGVDC, and it's important that you go because people actually want to hear what's going on. There's, you know me. I mean, my thoughts are that there's better ways to use that funding to connect people rather than running fiber optic cables to everybody's houses. I think that there's much better ways that we can spend that money and still have some surplus to teach people how to actually use devices, how to get online, how to use, software and applications and stuff. So I'm going to go from that perspective and not be confrontational tomorrow, but at least present
You're going to talk with a smile.
Listen, present other ways for people to think about stuff, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's going on tomorrow. I don't know what else. The Gypsy Kings are coming to McAllen on October 28th.
That sounds like
I'm so stoked about it. Except I will not be here, and I bought 4 tickets to it.
I'll be there.
I hope you are, because that's going to be.
I think I'll be there.
I love the Gypsy Kings, dude. Oh God, I'm bummed I'm not going to get to see them.
We'll change your flight.
I will be in Czech Republic.
Well, make it happen, Drew.
Talking about broadband.
Change it. Yeah.
What else? I don't know what else is going on this week. I don't have any updates.
I don't know either. I know that I wanted to do some kind of athletic thing with the kids this afternoon, but if you're telling me it's going to feel like 115, maybe that's not the best option.
Yeah, definitely it definitely isn't the time.
Someone
to go
told me
outside
that
today.
there's an indoor pickleball court. Is that true? Do you know
Did you
anything
know that
about
pickleball is no longer the fastest growing sport in the United
What
States?
is?
Paddle.
What's paddle?
Padel. I don't
What's
know
the difference between paddleball and pickleball?
So it's not paddleball. It's just called. I don't know the
just
correct
called
pronunciation. Yeah, PADEL. It's the thing over on. There's a court for it over
It's
on
like
23rd.
pickleball, but racquetball.
It's like pickle racquetball.
Yeah, because you can hit off the walls.
That's exactly right.
You see, I pay attention.
Yeah, man.
Except that's outdoors also, and it's hot.
Yeah. So I wonder whatever happened to the stuff at Cimarron. Like that had a really cool racquetball court. And then Cimarron. Oh my God! You know what to talk about also. So the
I'm
story.
envisioning. I'm trying.
The story that I've been following
What?
with the disc golf course in Zoho, and here's again quick recap. The reason, like I'm going to go in host mode. The reason that this is important to me is because we helped create the McAllen Creative Incubator at a place called Tech Place at the old library, and that recently was removed from the city of McAllen by the McAllen Chamber of Commerce so that they could give the second and third floor to the Zoho Corporation.
I remember.
And Zoho said we're going to make some changes to it and then we'll just leave it there and there's a remodeling thing. But it bothered me because that was the only place in McAllen that supported a creative incubator for technical types. It was good co-working space and I loved it. It was my baby.
And I mean, I think co-working space is key.
So that got taken away, and I was like, ugh. And it bothered me because here's Zoho, this company that can afford any building in McAllen,
Right.
And then the Chamber of Commerce just like gave them this building. Here you go, just take this. It was so short-sighted, in my opinion. Well, then the stuff to the west side of Ware Road, where the golf course is, there's this land area that was out there that was loosely called Green Jay Park. It's up for discussion whether it was an actual park or not an actual park, but it was under the control of the Parks and Rec Board. Anyway,
Okay.
So Green Jay Park turned into this disc golf course for the Texas games, and they did all this disc golf stuff out there, and all the disc golfers in the valley love it. They think it's a great spot. Well, again, this thing comes up. The McAllen EDC director pops up one day and says, Zoho's going to build a 90-acre technology campus in McAllen. And so everyone's like, where do we have 90 acres of green space in McAllen, right? Well, then we find out that they were going to take Green Jay Park, which is the disc golf park, and they were going to repurpose it and rezone it and let Zoho build out there. So all the disc golfers are like, dude, come on. And then a lot of people in McAllen are like, there's only 8%, less than 8% of the city of McAllen's area is green space. Why are you going to take one of the largest pieces away and just give it to this multinational corporation? I'm like, right? So they raised their voices, and people got online and they talked. They showed up at commission meetings, and they showed up at planning and zoning meetings, and they made a big stink about it. And even on Reddit, someone was like, dude, that's like one of the only places in McAllen where we have this. Why in the world are we pandering to this group so strongly that we're just giving away all these amazing things that McAllen has?
So what's the counter argument?
So lo and behold, well, the counter argument is if tech comes in, if one company comes in, then all this other tech comes in. And you know that I am such a huge advocate for that. We've been working for years with Code RGV and with the Mission EDC and McAllen and FAR and Weslaco and Brownsville and Texas Regional Bank. And like we've been trying to get tech down here forever.
Right.
So there's an opportunity to do it, but at what cost? And so everyone raised their voices, and someone on Reddit brought up a really good point. And what happened this past week is at the Parks and Rec Board, they said, no, we're not going to rezone it. They voted against it, unanimously voted against changing it over to Zoho. They wanted to keep the green space in McAllen. So that was kind of cool, except they don't have the final decision on it. That comes up to our McAllen City Commissioners, which it'll probably go to a City Commission vote. And they might vote against it. They might say, this is in the best interest of McAllen. Because
we have such a big population. This is my counter argument. I'm sorry. I'm not.
Go.
I don't agree.
Go.
Because we have that many people that want to play disc golf, that we don't want to invite the opportunity of jobs and more tech.
It's not just disc golf. It's green space that only gets used as disc golf. And then when it rains, it floods so poorly that you can't actually even use it.
Are we doing anything with that space? Are there any community events going out there? Are we doing anything to participate in the green space?
Yeah.
No. Right? No. So then let's bring on
then the flood argument.
commerce.
So that place floods crazy.
Well, that's going to be Zoho's problem then.
No, they say that they're going to build it up so that it won't flood there. So if they build it up, where does all the water go?
I don't know.
The neighborhoods around it. And there's big neighborhoods around it that are on floodplain. that now the water problem becomes their problem because we're catering to corporations. You bring up a very good counterpoint. Anyway, that being said, we'll see what happens with it. But someone brought up, they said, why not have them develop the
I think
Cimarron?
yeah.
There's a lot of space out there
That's
that
also
nobody.
a mission.
Well, that sucks for McAllen.
That's what I'm saying. Is that we had this conversation the other day about why not McAllen? Why don't we have all of these?
Dude, why not go north?
Why don't we have all
our
these
son and
great
I drove
things?
it. We went to go look at Tres Lagos, and he tells me we should move here, Dad. We should move
because
here.
he saw all the play parks.
He saw the parks and he saw the trails and he saw what you'd like about it. Anyway, I do want to say that it is the top of the hour. It is 10 o'clock and you are listening to Drew in the Morning.
Drew in the morning.
On KCYP LP 97.7 FM. Go.
With Jess. You've just bulldozed over that.
I
was like setting it up. Like, with Jess.
I need to add you to the jingle.
You do.
Well, let's take a poll and see if the poll says
Well, now they don't want me on, but oh my gosh, you're really going to leave it to people to vote? They're going to say no. Turn her off.
Nobody votes in the Valley.
Turn her off.
Anyway, it's 10:01, and with that, we are going to bid you adieu to you and you and you.
Have a great week.
I hope that everybody has a wonderful and a fantastic week. And you know what? I'm gonna let this song play right here. El Rancho Grande Potpourri by the one and only Steve Horan. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.